What's up? What's up? Don't be sour. Brand new episode 120. 120 episodes. We got Mr. Special guest today, David De Las Morenas, the ultimate fact checker of Mr. Gold Standard over here, Joe Bop at a Boopy. Joe, do you read? David, do you watch these videos?
Some of them.
You do. You really should watch them because I'm telling you, I watch these videos back, and I can understand why this is such a smash hit podcast.
It's pretty good
because you get a whole bunch of personalities. Everyone probably likes and dislikes different people. Do you think that there's like favorites?
Sure.
I'm the least favorite. You think you're the favorite?
I think so. I think I have the most.
Joe doesn't read the comments.
I think I have the most. I probably the most people that don't like me, and the most people that would like actively say they like me.
That's a valid point.
Yeah,
I think. You're hard.
I think
like people will argue about me in the comments.
I think people want you on the episode so bad so they can see how much you're going to bother them.
Probably. You got to look. All right, dude. Let's just say last video got what 40,000 views.
Yeah, a banger. Honestly,
40, maybe 30 bad comments, and out of the 30, maybe like 15 that mention me by name. I'll take that ratio all fucking day.
No, Joe did not dive into the comments that deep. David, I know you don't consume any of our content. Do you watch our vlogs and stuff?
Yes, the vlog. I'm more of a vlog guy than a podcast guy.
I watch the podcast today. Heidi always puts them on TV, and then we just listen. So,
are you ever worried about like when the girls like watch the podcast back? You're like,
no.
We talk nicely about them. I was listening to them back, and the comments in the last one was a heavy topic on immigration. Christian had a lot of strong points. Joe had a lot of points that the internet did not like.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know what that one was even. I
know.
literally said in the last podcast, I don't agree with it, and I think it'll fuck the country up. And then people were like, you don't know how bad this is going to fuck. I'm just like, that's what I said.
Well,
I literally said I have friends and family that I sympathize with. I don't agree with just kicking them out indiscriminately, and it will fuck the country up if we do that.
Or dragging them from the courthouses.
Yeah, and somehow or another, there's still comments. They're like, how are you pro for this? Like, listen to what I said. Go watch it again.
people need something to get mad at, and you can be that.
I'm happy to do it, dude.
That person. Okay.
I'll double down on it. If you protest in the middle of the road, you should get run over.
What do you think about that, David?
About that specifically?
Because I know you are the Joe combatter to his poorly Googled research.
Am I specifically commenting on protesters in the road?
Yeah.
Wait,
protesters blocking a highway. You're going to the airport.
Before you say that, in 3 to 4 words maximum, and I know this is going to be difficult for you, Joe, 3 to 4 words maximum, where do you consume most of your news information?
Recently?
One.
I guess Google.
Google. Okay, David, what about you? Where are you getting your sources? Just so we can have some background on when people start spitting facts of where you're pulling data.
The YouTube channels that I watch would be
Asmongold,
Breaking Points, Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith, and the Piers Morgan. He's good because he gets like people from both sides on. They fight it out.
Okay.
Bro, Tucker fucked up Ted Cruz.
Yeah,
that was hard to watch.
Ted Cruz, it looks legitimately like a complete idiot, imbecile. Like no knowledge of religion or foreign affairs. Yeah, it looks really bad.
Do y'all want to go dive deep into politics at the
I
beginning?
want to hear the protesters thing.
Okay, yeah, Dave. Sorry for I
think peaceful protests are obviously like should be encouraged. But people like when they're destroying things like the BLM protests or people who are disrupting, like that doesn't stopping me from getting to the airport as an example. That doesn't like accomplish the goal that they're trying to accomplish. Would I personally run them over? No, but I wouldn't like condone that type of protest.
I wouldn't run them over. I think they deserve to get run over. I'm not going to do it, but I don't feel bad when I see videos of like them beating on a window and the car like swerves and takes out two people. I don't feel bad for the
Joe.
The
Joe, when he
all.
hears that there's protests, he goes.
I go find them.
I need to go drive.
Well, if there's a violent protest or a protest like that, and then they get like tear gassed and stuff, I don't feel bad for those people. If there's a peaceful protest and they get tear gassed because the police get aggressive, I think the police are wrong in that.
Well, I think we saw in L.A. there was like a reporter that got shot with a beanbag. She was like standing there talking, and the cop just turned and shot her with a beanbag. It's like, what the fuck?
Do you think there's a percentage of people that protest that are essentially they want the police to react in a way that is like the incorrect way, like they're trying to like almost push them to the edge?
Yeah. There's like It's like it's the same argument with cops, right? It's like everyone hates cops, but it's like 1% of fucking cops that cause all the problems. I think same with protests. Like 99% of protesters have the right idea and are peaceful. It's one or two bad apples that throw a fucking Molotov and then the whole thing.
You just got to give everyone Pepsis, bro. I'm telling you.
And that's why they
Do you know that reference?
No, I don't.
God damn. Sorry.
Also, real quick, just to address people, I think
Talk to the people, Joe. Talk to this camera here.
as a podcast, right? I think you have to accept that like we're just going to talk on opinions and what we've heard. Because if your argument is you're not an expert on it, don't talk about it. Like I've seen that on almost everyone. Even Max has gotten that comment. And it's like, if we can only talk about what we're experts about, okay, we're going to talk about fucking cars and fitness. And this is going to be really fucking boring. So like, don't come to us for news. If you're mad we're talking about something we're not educated on, like comment down below and educate us. But I don't think the argument's shut up if you don't know what you're talking about. Like, well, what are we going to talk?
No, but we're four bros
talking,
given our opinion.
I think if it upsets you that much, like,
well, the thing is also like
we definitely don't claim to be not like fully knowledgeable in the stuff we're chatting about. We're literally chatting about things that happened this week.
Well, I also it's for example, which I'm sure obviously we're going to dive into the whole Iran thing. Like I was like this morning, I was like, oh, I'm going to watch what Trump said last night at this press briefing, right? And a lot of times when we talk about politics, I've gotten comments that say I bring up topics and then I don't say anything, and they're like, if you're going to bring them up, like you need to say stuff. But when I do talk, they say that I'm not educated enough, and I want to be like, you know what? Let me break it down like this. What is the limit? Like, okay, what should I consume of the news? And then it'd be like, where should I consume it? How much could I consume of it? And I'm just like, yeah, we're just. This is not a political podcast. It just happens we're a podcast that talks about politics.
That's like, people are going to watch this tomorrow. 2 days after the Iran bombing.
Yeah.
People are going to be curious. Like that's what people are going to want to consume.
It's
also
another 50-50 topic too. Maybe not 50-50, but like we're talking about topics that like no matter what you do, if there's 40,000 people watching this, 20,000 disagree with bombing Iran, 20,000 agree. Like no matter what we do, here, you're going to lose.
Current day political things, people are going to be divided on, like feel strongly one way or the other. So that's how it's going to go.
Now that we've disclaimed all that, what you got?
Iran, I imagine we start with.
Why not? Again, I do not know a lot about this situation.
Fuck it. Fuck the people.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want to have to disclaim like every time we talk about something. Like we don't. It'll be all right.
Go ahead. What happened?
So Trump said they bombed 3 of the underground nuclear facilities with the intention of dismantling their nuclear program. That's all that we've been told. They were American bombers, American planes, American pilots, American bombs.
This is to give you some background. If you don't know, this is what Israel's been asking us to do this for like 2 weeks, basically.
Bro, Israel's been asking us to do this for 35 years,
but they've been since they started the. So I don't remember what day Israel like first started sending.
It's been 9 days. It's like last Friday or Saturday.
Basically, we are the only country that has. It's called a MOP. So not Israel. Iran's nuclear facilities are like some of them are like 200 feet underground. We're the only nation at the moment that has technology to bomb 200 feet down.
By technology, you just mean.
We're the only country that has a bomb big enough that it's the way it works. It like drops one bomb, that bomb creates a hole, then it like drills itself in, then another bomb follows it in to go even deeper. What? We're the only country that has that, and we're the only country with a jet big enough to carry it.
It's like a 30,000 bunker buster
So
bomb.
the B-2, the big fucking like triangle jet, like we're the only country that has that. A normal sized jet can't carry this thing. So basically, Israel's been asking us to do it because we're the only country that can do it at the moment. And the whole thing's been like, if we did it, we're going to get involved in the war. And for like 7 days, Trump's kind of like, no one knows what I'm going to do. Don't question, And then he did it.
Well, there's a lot of other countries. I mean, I've seen like Australian news and just like all these other news channels like praising that someone finally did this, which is kind of crazy. Just like from an outside perspective, like, hearing other countries that are just like, wow, someone did this.
I'll let David go. But I think majority of people I think the world is a safer place if Iran doesn't have nukes. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. Whether we should have done it or not, I think everyone in the world agrees that Iran should not have nukes.
Would you say that the world would be safer if nobody had nukes?
Yes, but we can't do that.
Yeah, so I think Joe and I would probably disagree on this, per usual. I mean,
everyone get ready to type. Here we go.
As recently as a few weeks ago, Tulsi Gabbard, our national intelligence director, said that all of the surveillance we have says they don't have nukes. They're not pursuing building nukes. Also, the only reason that they've enriched their uranium, I think before this year, it was at 3%, and now it's at like 60. It's got to get to 90% to be able to make nuclear warheads, is because in Trump's first term, he tore up the agreement that Obama had made with Iran that had inspectors regularly going in. They were fully complicit. So Trump kind of created the ability for this to happen. But I think we know Israel has nukes. Israel seems to be the least, I would say, responsible government in the Middle East right now in terms of they just attack everyone to play the victim card. So, look, I'm disappointed because Trump, he ran on no new wars.
He ran on no new wars.
And he ran on America first.
Yeah.
Now we got new wars and we got Israel first.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm extremely disappointed. Of course, maybe it could be a positive outcome. It could be they dropped these 3 bombs, they come to an agreement, the nuclear program's completely put off, and we're all good. But it very much reminds me of Iraq, the WMDs that they said that they have, that they didn't have. The intelligence said they didn't have it. Netanyahu from Israel also came to Congress, which is also wild that he like regularly comes to the U.S. Congress and like gives speeches and they're all clapping. He was the one.
Israel is us.
Well,
we just have to accept that, like, we are Israel. They're our proxy.
But I just like that goes so against what we were running on.
No,
which
I
is
know.
like no wars. It's like,
but it's beyond
there's
that. It's
enough
like
happening right here, right now for us to handle.
And our country was literally founded on not like the reason that we broke off from the UK and like had the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence was because they became this nation of like nation building and trying to control all these different parts of the world. And our founding fathers, the whole point was for us not to be like interventionist and to get involved with all these different things.
Yeah.
Then World War II happened, and now that's like the religion of the states is, of course, right? Like we came and like we saved for World War II, and that's been the justification for every war since then. And none of them have ended well. I would say that the last thing, Max, I'll let you respond, or Joe will probably respond, but I think it's just really sad because Netanyahu is the one who prompted us to get into Iraq. He's the one who largely pushed, hey, if you take down Saddam, democracy is going to sweep the region. Of course, it led to just like chaos. It led to a civil war in Iraq with like 1 million people dead. And the same thing happened when we first went into Iraq, like Operation Iraqi Freedom 3, I think it was technically, because George Bush Sr. had also done it a couple times. After the first week, there was like, I don't know if y'all remember, but it was like mission accomplished. Like we already won. It's already over. And it kind of seems eerily familiar right now. So like hopefully it is over and it moves on, and I still don't agree with it. But hopefully we don't get drawn into a war. But the Middle East is a pretty...
I think they're going to retaliate.
Well, no, I'm saying... And then
100%.
So, okay, so they retaliate. They hit something in Israel or something where there's U.S. soldiers. The next step, we escalate. There's boots on the ground.
Stuff, right? They have like really good cyber hacking ability.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like it's about the nukes. It seems like it's being sold that it's the nukes, but it's Israel and Netanyahu want to change the Iranian regime the same way they did with Iraq. And again, they can have the desires they want, but we enable all of it to happen. And how many like trillions of U.S. tax dollars and millions of lives have been lost because of the same stupid playbook we've seen our whole lifetime. That's all we've seen is these stupid fucking Middle East wars. We all probably know people who are American soldiers who've died over there. All of us don't like how much taxes we pay. That's like the bulk of our tax goes literally to these bombs and shit. So I'm quite disappointed in Trump.
I saw
he clickbaited us hard, I'd say.
I saw a tweet on November 10th, 2013
About Obama. And
that Trump says, "Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly, not skilled." Would you say that, do you think he would like backtrack on that and say that he tried negotiating?
That'd be his argument. His argument would be he tried. He gave him 6 days, and they kept telling him to fuck off.
Yeah, but it's such a weird negotiation because he's like negotiating them to dismantle this nuclear program that they only were able to progress on because he tore up the agreement in his first term. It's just, man, Trump. He doesn't have. He doesn't.
I
like
agree with
logic.
everything you've said.
Yeah, Trump's logic is very weak.
I'll also say, like, Trump's whole thing is peace through strength. If we don't ever flex, then we don't have the strength.
But bro, the U.S.'s problem is not lack of flexing. All we've been doing is flexing and killing people.
I just like I get if he says, "Hey, get rid of the nukes and sign a peace deal."
They don't have nukes.
I think stop enriching. I guess that was again. I'm going off of the premise that they are trying to get nukes. If they're not, then
but
like,
if our
whatever.
national like intelligence director says like the latest,
I don't know,
and the international like
so Tulsi, right? She said what?
A few weeks or the very end of March, I think it was, so maybe a month ago or so. She said all of our data suggests they don't have nukes. They're not pursuing nukes. They're still using it for like civilian enrichment purposes. And I would agree still that like the less countries that have nukes, the better.
Do you think that Trump's cabinet is getting like torn apart internally right now?
I think Trump supporters are about 50-50 on this. They said Tulsi Gabbard's been kind of like frozen out since that. Like she's like out of favor. Obviously, Tucker Carlson spoke against it. Charlie Kirk spoke against it. And immediately Trump, like Rand Paul spoke against it. Thomas Massey spoke against it. And the problem is everyone who like supported Trump before and then speaks against it, he acts like a child and like tweets about how like I decide what America first is. And it's like, bro, it's Israel first. You can just be honest about it, man. I'm just disappointed because it seems like he sold himself as I'm different from these neocons like a Bush, who was after that, Obama, Biden. And he just seems to be pursuing the exact same foreign policy.
You see Elon fall off. You see Tulsi fall off. You see,
and he throws a fit and just like insults them all. They're like, all of them are not even criticizing you. They're all like, we trust his instincts. They're trying to talk around insulting him. It just really, it's not a good idea to get involved with Iran. And he just seems to, to lose his shit about it.
Iran's not small.
No, Iran. That's the other thing.
14th biggest military, I think, in the world or something like that. They're like in the top 20.
Well, if you compare Iraq and Afghanistan to Iran, it's a whole different beast that could evolve into a much bigger war in the region that could again lead to a lot more money and a lot more lives lost, American and also primarily not American. But it seems like this is what Israel wants.
Also, again, though, I feel like the world, whether they're trying to or not, if you just ask a point blank, should Iran have a nuclear weapon? Everyone's going to say no.
No, yeah, but you could ask. It depends how you phrase the question. But if you ask the same people, should America be involved in this at all?
No, it'll be no.
They're all going to say no.
But Iran if I'm going off the premise they're trying to get nukes, I'm okay with it.
But they don't have a nuclear weapon.
I don't know. I know they don't have one. Are they trying to develop one?
But every country is probably trying to develop one at some point.
So I'm not for like the regime change, but I think that is part of the fucking issue of like, if Iran was a normal fucking country, it'd be, hey, we don't have nukes. Why don't y'all come look? Instead, it's like this fucking supreme leader that's like, fuck y'all, don't talk to us. We're
no, that's not at all. They've been trying to negotiate
with Obama. No, Iran right now, the supreme leader's fucking putting out tweets and shit like America's going to feel the rain.
After we bombed them.
No. Like last week when Israel got involved, they were like, fucking death to America.
Okay, well, no, the leader hasn't said death to America. That was their leader like 20 years ago. But leading up to
haven't been saying death to America like recently though.
It's not the supreme leader, but
there's videos of like there's videos of like children in the streets yelling death to America.
Iran has indiscriminately fucked with our troops and our bases for the last 20 years. So I don't think they get to be like, hey, we're innocent here, we don't do anything.
I don't think either of us are gonna have the data on hand to prove this, but from what I've heard, a lot of that's been fabricated. That the things that happened in Iraq were like, and again, they didn't bomb U.S. They didn't bomb the U.S.
We know Hezbollah was funded by Iran. We know that, and they have attacked our fucking troops and shit nonstop.
Yes, but they've attacked our troops when we've been invading foreign countries.
We're just chilling.
No, they've invaded.
Like they've attacked our ships just sitting in the Red Sea, not doing anything, just sitting there. They send drones and shit at us. I'm just saying, I don't think Iran gets to sit here and be like, we didn't do anything. Like they poked the bear over and over again.
Okay, but why did they poke the bear?
Because they don't like our ships sitting there. They don't want us around.
So you don't think it's tied to us nation building and tearing down country
after
I think
country?
Syria,
is.
Libya,
I think it is.
Iraq,
I just don't know what the
Afghanistan?
answer is. I don't think the answer is to like leave them alone and hope they don't do anything.
They don't have the capability of. They could fuck with Israel, but they don't have the capability of messing with the mainland United. We're by far the largest military superpower in the history of the world. These are peasants. These are.
I just don't know what the answer is. I guess so. If it came out, if they have indisputable proof they were trying to build nukes, it would have taken 5 more years, but they were trying. Then would you agree that we should have done what we did?
I mean, Israel has nukes. Like, why is it okay with like?
I don't think because Israel's not a fucking radicalized state. They are.
Yes, they are.
But they're not. If Israel launched a nuke, we cut them off for good. If Iran launched a nuke, I don't think they don't care.
You think we'd cut Israel off if they launched a nuke?
I think so.
I feel like I don't know how bad it is / has been in Iran. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't know.
It's a nice fucking country. I think a lot of people think Iran's like a fucking like desert.
No, it's a diverse country. Yeah. There's a lot of different. I mean, it's primarily Persian.
Is this the radical leaders or what?
It's most people, at least most Iranians I talk to in the U.S. don't like the leadership there.
Well,
most of them aren't as radical.
A lot of people from there like fled.
Yeah, well, so the leadership is like, I mean, they're famous country for like they'll fucking cut your head off if you're LGBT and the girls can't show their hair or they get fucking like beat in the street. I mean, it's not the country. It's the fucking leadership that's like super Islamic.
It changed about 17 years ago. It used to be a secular state. It got taken over by like the Islamic Republic of Iran.
And that's when it got bad?
Well,
it's not. It depends on who you talk to. If you're fucking Islamic, you probably love Iran.
But this is still a silly argument because they use this in Iraq and Afghanistan too. Like,
who are we to judge that though?
No, exactly. This is the same argument they use. They're like, well, women can't go to school. It's like, well, do you think the women are happy now that we bombed the whole fucking country? Like, which is worse? It's pretty obvious, bro. Mm-hmm. That's a weak argument. Is all I'm saying.
Well, from a financial standpoint, I don't know if we dropped 3. I think they said they dropped like 10 of these fucking bombs.
Well, they in 3 primary sites. I don't know how many bombs it was.
So I was curious this morning. I looked into it. So I don't know how they factored this in, but development of the missiles $550 million, and then each missile's $35 million. I don't know if I don't know how you do that math. But so potentially this fucking one strike between all the jet. I mean, we probably spent $2 billion last night to drop these 3 bombs.
And if
between scrambling, there's 30 jets. There was a decoy mission. I will give Trump credit though. He sent jets to Guam West, and the news picked up on that, and everyone's tweeting about that. In the meantime, he sent
decoy jets.
Yeah, he sent a bunch to the right, east, and those are the ones that hit. So all the media was covering, we're putting jets in fucking Asia to get ready to do it, and in the meantime, he was actually doing it. And no one saw it coming.
Could the president launch jets and then tell the FAA to be like, don't report these jets?
Yeah, they didn't tell them shit. But they do. I mean, I think the reason it got picked off, they were going to the west, was like random people that are looking at flight logs and stuff. So I don't know how they got around it, but yeah, they sent a fake group to the west and then sent a group to the east. And while the media was covering these guys, they just did the whole fucking operation.
With I don't know if this fault, I'm assuming it checks and balances, but is Trump the one that just is like, I want to do this? And there, how many
Where's
people?
the Constitution? Or where's the Congress
how many,
tie
how many people have to sign off on that as well? Or is Trump just like...
I could tell you. Because this is why people say the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan were illegal wars, and why this would also probably qualify.
Unconstitutional. Like a lot of people are saying that this whole bombing yesterday was unconstitutional.
Yes, and there's a bill in Congress that will definitely get shot down because 99% of the Congress people are neocon, like warmongers, on the Democrat and the Republican side. But hey, constitutionally,
wait, real quick, and again, I just want to say that even just listening to y'all have vastly more research into very specific things. So that's why I can't comment on a lot of these things you're saying because I actually don't know. Can you? What is neocon?
Neoconservative. It's like the political ideology of like George Bush Sr., Dick Cheney, basically war hawks. It's basically like war hawks. They always have some reason why we have to go to some fucking country and do these wars of choice that like aren't immediately needed to do.
Okay.
Constitutionally, the power of declaring war rests with Congress, not with the president. That's why with Iraq and Afghanistan, and I'm sure Trump will say the same thing with Iran, it's like, it's not a war, even though it's a fucking war. They're just like, no, it's just like a military action.
It's just a move, It's just a play. So like, we're not starting a war. We're just making a play and
what
saying
decides, like, does someone have to declare war? Like, how?
Yes, that's why the U.S. has not declared war any of these times. But that's why, again, Republicans and conservatives are meant to be very constitutional, right? Like that's kind of the basis is like they stick with the Constitution until they don't, because yes, these would be seen as basically unconstitutional.
I don't think even that they can though. I don't think they can put boots on the ground outside of special operations.
I mean, Iraq and Afghanistan they did.
But I think we did. I think Congress finally put, like when we full blown started shipping troops over there, I think we were in a declared war.
There's a reason they call it an illegal war, but we might. This is one of those.
I believe like strikes and like tactical strikes and like special operations. So if we send a group of 6 in to like kill Osama bin Laden or something like that, I think that you can get around Congress. But I think if we want to ship over 5,000 troops and set up bases and shit, I don't think you can do that without Congress getting involved.
You should watch the Osama bin Laden.
You've been a big advocate of that.
Yeah, you should definitely watch it. Yeah.
And to be fair, it's not just Republican. Like Obama had, I think, 35 strikes while he was president that weren't sanctioned by Congress.
Well, no, here's the thing.
Every president does
Here's the thing.
this.
As much as Democrats hate Trump, I guarantee you, maybe not Democratic voters. I'm sure most of them are against. I mean, most of the country is anti-war, right? That's one reason Trump got elected. But if you were to poll the politicians, the Democrats, this is probably the one thing that they like about Trump, is that like the actual politicians in power, the Democrats love war, and they're probably happy about this.
Would you say, you said the outcome that Trump is trying to achieve is for Iran to not have...
It's for peace.
It's really for fucking Israel.
Yeah, it's for Israel to change...
If Israel wasn't there, we wouldn't have done this.
It's for Israel to change the regime in Iran. Or just to destabilize the region so that they remain the main power in the Middle East.
Also, let me just say this, because we're going to be fucking Trump thumper. I also saw, so Iran has been shooting missiles back and forth with Israel for 9 days, and they hit a hospital. And I'm watching fucking Netanyahu stand in front of this hospital and saying, like, this is the difference between us and them. Like, we target things and they're dogs. They're trying to kill our civilians. It's like, didn't we just watch for fucking 2 years y'all dismantle an entire population of people?
They're still doing it, bro.
But haven't we seen Israel like bomb hospitals too?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
they bombed like 35 hospitals.
Gaza is destroyed. If you look at the drone shots before and after, it was a place
backing this.
Yeah,
those are our fucking bombs.
But then you have Netanyahu being like, Iran's a bunch of dogs. They tried to kill our hospitals. Like, but killed 40-something fucking hospitals.
He ran on. We just need a pull back and let them do their thing, and we need to focus on the U.S.
Well, I saw a funny comment this morning, but his whole thing was like, well, if I was in office, it wouldn't have happened. And people were like, oh, like with Iran, if Trump was in office, the bombs in Iran wouldn't have happened. But like, they did.
I think the outcome of war, like no one really wins.
Well,
right?
this is the thing. I think people forget, even in these discussions, like a war means there's babies being burnt under rubble. Like families are torn. It's fucking terrible, man.
Bro, even just like, I mean, I know it's, far away like for us, so it's hard to maybe like conceptualize it, but like, our hairstylist, right?
Yeah.
Is Irani. And she was like, talked to me about it when I got my haircut like 2 days ago. And she's like, yeah, with the bombings going on, she's like 90% of my family is in Iran.
Yeah.
And she's like 90% of like my family is in the main cities of Iran. And she's like, there's no internet.
Yeah.
She's like, they're all shut down. And then she's like, there's only a brief period of time when there's no power, or she was basically saying she can't communicate with like anyone. And she's like, they're all of the people she knows. She was just visiting there a couple months ago. It's just like all of my family is like in these major cities where they're bombing, and I can't communicate with them at all. I'm like, that's terrifying.
And bro, like if Iran retaliates, high chance they are, right?
Well,
and Trump uses way more force than
he just said he would. He said
it's like,
if they don't surrender, it's like we're gonna do an even bigger attack, and it'll take us minutes. Like he's like,
but that's how a small surgical strike very quickly escalates into all-out war.
Let's say the outcome of what Trump's trying to do, but even if Iran would, let's just say, go along with what Trump would want to do of say, I'm assuming surrender. That's what he wants.
I would probably just be like, we're dismantling our full nuclear program. That's probably what he wants.
But like from that moment, there's no way that this area is not going to be like we're like, thanks for doing that. We changed our ways. It's like they're always going to have hostility towards.
What I think we just saw with Palestine, like I don't think Israel will stop. I think Iran could surrender tomorrow and say we're not going to try. Yeah, and I still think Israel's going to sit here and fucking shoot missiles at
him.
Yeah,
Netanyahu just wants that government gone. And
wasn't Netanyahu like almost out of power right before the attack on October? Like, wasn't he about to get voted out?
Well, there's a lot of information that suggests that like October 7th could have been like a false flag, which Israel does a lot of. Meaning that like Mossad, the Israeli CIA, it seems they had knowledge of this plan about a year before it happened. So people suspect, because also Netanyahu, a lot of people don't know this, but he actually funded and allowed a lot of the funding to flow to Hamas because he preferred that region to be destabilized versus it being stabilized. So he kind of funded the people who attacked him. Similar how the CIA armed a lot of bin Laden and it supported him because he was destabilizing a different region before they attacked on 9/11. So it's all really fucked up, man.
I don't want to be tied to anything Israel does, moving forward.
And I think it's important to say, I don't think any of us are talking about the Israeli people. It's just like Netanyahu and his like war hawk cabinet of
I think it also though speaks volumes of like, so Israel basically like runs Iran's airspace at the moment. Like for the last 9 days, they've had jets over, like they're basically just in control of the fucking airspace. And to do that, like Egypt and all these countries opened up their airspace to Israel to let them fly out. So I'm like, I feel like these countries either don't want to fuck with Israel or they also don't love Iran, because like why else would you be like, hey, y'all can fly through our country to get to fucking.
I think a lot of it's probably fear of the U.S. Via Israel as a U.S. proxy. I mean,
most countries around Iran are letting Israel and us fly through like uncontested. Y'all do whatever the fuck y'all want.
What allies do Iran have? It's
Russia. Russia's the big one. I think China too.
China and Russia.
It's more like the Islamic, like they have like some community. I don't know if Russia's a strong ally with Iran or
China. Well, I think they buy a lot of oil.
So I think they're trading partners. I don't know if they're allies militarily.
What do you think the allies are gonna like? Does this bring like NATO into things?
No.
Well, no, probably not.
Iran's the biggest person we have to worry about in that group. All of Iran's allies are just like extremist countries around Iran.
I just don't see how this like ends well.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's also like I was saying, like I don't know what the alternative is. I don't know that there's a world that we can just say like everyone leave Iran alone for the next 20 years and something won't happen. Like,
no,
I feel like
they've been fully open to negotiate. They made the deal with Obama. There's a clear,
No,
obvious diplomatic alternative that already existed. So it's a silly thing to say. You don't know what the alternative is.
So that's my thing with Palestine too, right? Like everyone's like, you still have these protests saying like free Palestine, stop. And if like you're right, Palestine's gone. There's nothing fucking there.
Well, a lot of the people are.
The people are, but like I mean, if the idea is
starving,
everyone stops and the fucking Palestinians are going to run to Home Depot and grab some 2x4s and rebuild, that it's never going to fucking happen. At this point, another country has to come in and rebuild for them because they can't fucking do it.
Yeah, but the problem is Trump and Israel are trying to make this plan where they move the people out of the and that is the definition of ethnic cleansing and genocide.
So Obama and Iran had a deal in 2007, 2006.
Just sometime during Obama's reign, I think it was closer, maybe 2014 or something, something like that. Yes, where they monitored the exact levels of the uranium that was being enriched so that it could be done for civilian purposes. I don't really know what the difference is. Not making warheads, but I imagine uranium, nuclear energy, things like that. And then when Trump came in, similar to how when Biden came in, they were like, everything Trump did was bad, we need to undo it. Trump kind of did the same thing with Obama. I think it was kind of just like Obama did this, so like we have to get rid of it because it's bad. So he tore up that deal with Iran, and then they started enriching it more. And then when he came back in, and what he was trying to negotiate before Netanyahu went and started bombing Iran was that basically to go back to that same deal that he said was a terrible deal, which we've seen him also do with like the tariffs as well, where he says something's a terrible deal, and then he just makes the same deal afterwards. Oh man!
So, but once you destabilize it, I don't know. That's my thing with Palestine, right? Like someone has to rebuild it. The people ain't going to do it. So another country's got to get involved, and no one's going to do it for free. So then they want the mineral rights, or they want to take some of the land for themselves, or we want to govern it, or whatever.
But the problem is that the root cause. Like, obviously, yes, this has to be dealt with now. But if Israel can't just keep bombing countries and be like, "Oh, I guess it's our land now," like that can't be allowed.
And I would do the same if I'm a Palestinian. Like in Israel's defense, they fucked this up, but they really can't stop now because you will have the greatest terrorist force we've ever seen in our world if you just leave them alone. If I watch my entire family get bombed and fucking you destroyed my country, I'm 10 years from now, I'm joining whatever I can to fucking revolt.
This is why there's a lot of anti-U.S. sentiment in the Middle East, because so many of these people grew up with their families being bombed by U.S. drones from Obama and Bush mainly.
That's from as nice as it would be to say like, hey, hands off, let's just stop. Like you've already started this. Well, they can't just stop, because if
they create a two-state solution and there's like U.S. or some third part or UN like peacemakers there in the meantime, and the problem is that they'll have to put some, not sanctions against Israel, but they'll have to kind of prevent Israel from playing with it. And I don't see the current Israeli government accepting anything.
I think you're always going to have, your 6-year-old kid that lost their family to this, that fucking hates Israel with a passion. They're always going to have radicals coming out of an area. If you demolish a population, you're never not going to have people that going to retaliate.
But that's not justification.
No, I know.
To finish the cleansing.
That's what I'm saying. There's no winning here. It's like no matter what they do, it's gonna fucking. Yeah. The winning would have been don't start it. But once you've taken out 90% of the fucking country, like I don't know what the fuck the solution is anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean their finance minister, what's his name? Not Ben-Gvir, the other guy. But they're like openly saying in their press conferences in Israel, not Netanyahu, but some people in his cabinet are openly saying like, no, now we want to basically pushed all of them out of Palestine. Of course, they started it by saying it was a response to October 7th, which of course was like a bad attack by Hamas, or a terrorist attack by Hamas.
Do you think Trump knew that he was going to do this when Israel started?
So there's this is a debate. Some people think Trump was in good faith trying to negotiate with Iran, and then when Israel bombed Iran, he was kind of forced to save face and pretend like he was like aware of it, and so he supported Netanyahu because Trump's not going to want to look weak. The other idea is that he was doing it as like a farce. Like he was trying to like fake Iran out and being like, no, we're still pushing for like a peaceful negotiation here, while he gave Israel the go ahead to like, y'all go ahead and bomb them. Like we'll keep them distracted, pretending like we're negotiating. No, we don't know.
So Trump knew that Israel was going to bomb Iran. We don't know.
We don't know. Either he didn't and he's saving face after, pretending like he did, or he did and he was conspiring with Israel while telling Iran that we're still trying to negotiate. We don't know.
Like before Israel started this?
Yes.
And no, he 100% knew, because we started evacuating troops like 2 days before they even launched the first missile. There was a whole thing that there's troops that got evacuated from the bases around Iran like almost a week before Israel did anything, and they were asking Trump why he was doing it, and he was like, oh, y'all see. They asked Trump before any bombs, like why he was evacuating, and he was like, "Oh, so he knew it was coming."
From what he said, it's not clear, but I think it is most likely.
Oh yeah, he did a tweet that said like everyone should evacuate.
Yeah, no, that was after. Out.
No, but evacuating Tehran, that was after the Israeli already started.
I'm saying we started getting troops, and like we shut down our embassies. Like I'm pretty sure it was like a day or two before Israel sent the first bomb.
It's most likely that he was like pretending with Iran like he was negotiating while he told Netanyahu, go ahead, start bombing them.
I'm assuming there had been a thought process of like, hey, this could be an option. I guess to try to figure out like how much of when a person of power, a president, like wants to make this decision of like, yes, go, like jets go, like how much of like, yes, I want to do this to like when it actually can happen. Do you think like how much time do you think it, like how quickly can something like that happen? Is like one day? He's like,
I'm going to say one day.
That's
the fact there were no leaks, typically it's got to happen pretty fast because people fucking talk.
There's a lot of people in the U.S. government that like want these attacks to happen. So I'm sure like when they know it's even a remote possibility, they're already like mobilizing and preparing. So.
We've talked about this like briefly before, but you said America has like just substantially like our
superpower.
Yeah.
Military, yeah.
Like,
I
fucking close.
I think the second country, and I forget if it's China.
It's China. China's 300 billion.
We're like
991 billion.
Why is
yes.
that?
It's a factor of like 10x or something, or 20x.
And even China's like a factor. Like we're 3 times. We spend 3 times more than China does on our military. But then I think under them it's like 180. We spend millions of times more than most countries spend on their military.
And this is another thing. I'm just
like money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we spend $991 billion a year.
China's
yeah,
richer
we
than
are.
us.
Well, this is another thing with Trump is that this new like big beautiful bill, it literally funds the military to a level never before seen, to an even bigger level, which is why it increases the debt ceiling by like $4 trillion, which again Trump explicitly ran on like, I'm actually gonna get the debt down, and he's just fucking stacking it on faster than Biden even did.
You know how my dumbass said the dollar was backed by gold?
Very confidently.
Turns out it's backed by F-35s.
Basically.
The U.S. dollar is backed by the fact that we have the biggest military and no one wants to fuck with us.
But since Trump has been messing around with the tariffs and it's destabilized a little bit of the foreign economy, the euro is strengthened significantly, and it seems like the euro may actually, if Trump's not careful, the U.S. dollar is going to get swapped out as like the world's reserve currency because people are just not sure what's happening right now.
Are the planes that sent these weapons or these bombs into Iran, are those, you said there's not planes that could do that for us, or like would our military?
We're the only
like,
one that has a stealth fighter jet big enough to do that. There's bombing planes, but we're the only one that has one that can fly under the radar like that.
You said a comment a while back that if like anyone ever sent a bomb to the United States, that our airstrike could shoot it down before it ever reaches.
Well, luckily
we never had to put it in place, but so the Iron Dome that Israel has is a very small version of what we have here.
Can you explain that? I saw a lot of stuff about this Iron Dome, and
it's just a missile defense system.
Okay.
They have things all around the country, and as missiles are coming, it shoots its own little missiles at their missiles, and it blows up and blows them up in the air.
You've seen it in movies. It's like
Right.
anti-air, but
Okay.
like to another level.
So the U.S. has that technology and probably way better versions
and
of it all around
all
it.
along the coasts, yeah.
So the idea is if anyone ever shot a nuke at us or something, we can get it out of the sky before it hits.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's Trump's trying to do I think he called it the Golden Dome. Trump's trying to basically take it because I
the
think
big beautiful dome.
I think most of our missile defense is from, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like the 70s and 80s or whatever. And I think he wants to now bring it up to date and like bring Space Force into it and have satellites involved and shit. And that was why like I think China and Russia are so against that, because if we had that, we're like untouchable in a war.
But when Trump was running for office, he floated this like denuclearization. Like, I'd like to talk with Russia and with China about denuclearizing, because then all of us can spend less money, the debt can go down, and no one needs to be like having the biggest dick in the room because we're all like communally bringing it down. But obviously, it doesn't seem like he's doing that.
We don't have the most nukes though. So we do have by far the most money in our military, but Russia has like 5 times as many nukes as we do.
But us and our allies combined have more than Russia. But yeah.
Would you say that the biggest reason of so much hostility across the entire country is just like people of power having big egos is like
Yes.
the main thing? Like, is there a clear, like on paper, like if
Like in the world?
these countries did all of these things, then everyone could get along?
Well, that's why it's hard to believe that we're really a democracy, because if you polled the U.S. people, like most people don't want war, but they still happen. And of course, there's like a rally behind the flag effect that when, you know, Pete Hegseth comes out, like you said, and he's like, they came in, they executed the mission, they left, like people get like, yeah, we got to support like the country. But if you regular people don't know who fucking Hezbollah is, maybe in the last few months, they don't care about it.
This is those fucking ads. The new military ads will fire you
No,
up.
yeah, it makes you feel
You
like
watch one of those ads and you're like,
makes like you
It's
feel like you're playing.
dude, no, they were like, because under Biden they were like kind of like inclusivity and like random shit, and then Trump came back and
They're
now
like
it's
Call
like
of
fucking
Duty.
AC/DC and just bombs going off and shit, and you're like, dude, this is.
Like, was that a scene from Rambo?
It
Did I see
literally looks like Call of Duty. It's like, oh shit.
But yeah,
Speaking of,
but that's the sad part. It is essentially these few people in power who make a lot of money from these military companies who get the contracts to build the bombs. That, like you said, it's maybe $1 billion.
I googled it again because I feel like someone's about to hear a fucking idiot. It's estimated at 1.8 billion when they factor in like they had like 12 refueling jets. They sent I mean, just sending those 5 fake jets, not fake, but the 5 jets that didn't do it to Guam, that probably cost taxpayers $50 million to scramble those jets.
But if you think about
there.
that, that's $2 billion. What that means is it comes out of our money, our pockets, our taxes, and it doesn't go to the government. It doesn't go to the Israeli government. It goes to like Boeing or one of these,
whoever builds that bomb,
Lockheed Martin, one of these U.S. corporations. These are the ones that spend a lot of money lobbying the politicians, and that's why a lot of politicians are pro-war, because they're incentivized financially to support these. Like it's an economy, it's an industry. War.
Also, why a lot of these politicians,
like War Dogs. You saw the movie War Dogs, right? I mean, that's kind of like about that. There's a lot of money to be made.
These politicians, when they retire, are on the board of directors for like Lockheed and
like Nikki Haley was on the Boeing board, and that's why when she was running, she's even more so than Trump or Biden or any of them. She's like super hawkish. Like she was talking about striking Iran and starting that war years ago.
So with all of this stuff that's been going on since November, would you say that Trump has been a positive impact during his presidency or a negative impact?
You know what? Let me go first. I don't like the ICE shit. He said Ukraine and Russia war would be over the day. He's actually said it'd be done before he got in office. If anything, it's gotten worse.
Yep.
Palestine's fucked. Israel's completely unchecked. And the tariffs still really haven't affected me, but it is affecting people. So
wait, last time we talked, you were like, there's going to be a lot of deals coming out. There's the one UK deal, no other deal.
And honestly, the market's doing really good, but it's a fucking balloon, dude. I thought the market's doing good, but it's not. If you ask an average consumer, which was my argument against Biden, was the market looks good, but when you talk to an average Americans are still fucking struggling. And the market's going up, and Trump wants to fucking tweet about like we're at all-time highs, but like the average American is still dealing with the same shit they were 8 months ago.
So what's your conclusion?
Nothing's changed.
I would say
I feel safer. I will say I do feel safer. I feel less like we're going to randomly get fucking bombed, but
I don't, bro. I feel like the foreign policy is exactly the same as it would have been. He came out with a lot of nice like executive orders at the beginning that like I think everyone was really pumped up the first month. Like I think in his mind, like by doing these executive orders, there was symbolic. He like delivered on his promises, and then now he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
I agree with that.
It's still hard to, like the Democrats just seem so evil. At least the like Kamala Biden, they just seem so terrible that it's hard to say I'd rather have them. But I think Trump still might at this point be a net negative because the tariffs so far are a net negative and everything else is probably exactly the same as it would have been.
Do you think that everything that has happened, would you say less than 50% would have happened if Kamala would have been in office? Like, do you think like what
it would have been the same minus the tariffs. It would have been the same minus the tariffs.
You think?
Do you think that? Oh yeah, I know she wouldn't have.
So you
do you think they would have come down on Israel and made them stop? Because I feel like Trump really hasn't tried to stop the Palestine-Israel thing at all.
No, but
neither did Biden and neither did Kamala.
But Trump a couple times like pushed back on Netanyahu. Yeah. Biden 0 times did. So I think it would have been more, maybe the Iran stuff would have happened faster. We wouldn't have had the tariffs, and there might have been some more like woke shit happening.
And the ICE shit wouldn't be happening.
But I think the benefit of Trump is the amount of illegals entering the country. This is the one big positive.
0.
It dropped to like the basically to like 0 statistically significantly versus the last few decades. That hasn't been through anything he did. I think he just like when he got elected, the people like, oh fuck, we ain't gonna try and cross the border now.
Not saying anything bad about illegal immigrants, but thanks to Biden opening the borders, I saw a statistic the other day. We have a shit ton of people that came from the Middle East illegally that we don't know where the fuck they are and who they were.
No,
now we're getting in a conflict with Iran. It's like how many fucking Iranians that we don't know about came into the fucking country and are here right now that are now.
Here's the biggest. What do you think the decision that Trump did?
Wait, y'all still got to answer what y'all think about Trump. Me and Joe.
I think overall it's been a negative so far.
Would you rather still have Biden? That's my bigger. I would.
Here's the thing. I probably wouldn't have voted in retrospect. I just would have been like, whatever, fuck it, man.
I didn't want to vote this time.
But I made a whole YouTube video hyping up why I was voting for Trump, and I was really excited about it. But a lot of it was these people he brought around him. But then like
I was. But then I was pumped
Elon's
about the
out.
cabinet.
Tulsi feels like she's out.
Yeah, I feel like Tulsi's out. I liked how there were more perspectives, kind of making up the cabinet, and now I feel like all that's like gone.
Yeah.
So,
I will say a pro. People get mad about this. Some people. I do like that. I feel like the country and the government is not pushing the gender, because I feel like that was getting really bad under. I will say that
But
like
that's
that
what
has fucking
those
stopped.
were the executive orders at the beginning. A lot of them dealt with
yeah,
that.
for that, I'm just, I don't give a fuck. Like,
No,
you're
I
getting
know,
so
but it
insignificant.
was getting to the point. It was getting a little weird. Like we were on,
But like,
I think another 4 years of that, we would be at the point where if you misgender somebody, it'd be fucking illegal. Like we were on that path.
I agree with Joe, but I don't think it's
not a huge
hugely
issue.
significant.
No, I'm just
issue,
saying I
but-
appreciate
yeah.
that stopped.
I
Because I
agree.
do feel like we were headed down the road of like that being like you're going to go to jail if you fucking misgender somebody in the U.S.
We agree on that one, Joe.
Oh shit!
A rare agreement.
I think we agree on most things.
Unity.
Yeah. No, even in the war
today.
stuff, we kind of agreed on most.
I
of
would
it.
say, look, ever since Trump got into office, and I don't know if it's maybe just even this podcast, we started getting more into it. This is probably the most, and I still have a long way to go of research and just informing myself on what's happening, right? But I'm probably the most involved now, and take out like the stock market, take out like the economy, which is a very important thing, right? But I would say that like from what I've viewed online of y'all's opinions, everything that I see on X and just overall, I would say that there hasn't been a lot of things that are like positive outcomes that have happened since like Trump came into office, right? But I guess when all this is happening, there's a lot of like negative things happen. It's only if like plans that he has end up working out in the long run
Yeah.
that then
Yeah.
at that point you could be like, I guess I was wrong.
We're not even a year in.
I did
Yeah.
read a report on the tariffs. So July 9th is the end of the 90 days. And I read someone saying, like, it could low-key be a good move if after the 90 days, he's like, look, this 90-day extension is going to be extended for the next 12 months because now it brings, like, stability and like, certainty while we still now have a 10% baseline tariff and, like, the 55% China one. So it would make more income for the U.S. government, granted, at the consumers and businesses' expense, but it would reintroduce like the certainty for the trading partners, and that could be a net positive for the tariffs. I have a feeling, I don't know, we'll see. He's either going to throw.
but that would mean he came in hot and is willing to go cold. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
he'd
I
have to
just-
sell it as like we're going to give it another 12
I don't
months
think
to
his ego
negotiate
let
the
him do
deals.
that. I don't think he'll do that.
That'd be the best outcome for like the financial markets and everything. Yeah.
But I think at the end, we're going to be with the 55% tariff.
Well, for
plus 10.
China, I think
For China, yeah.
that's probably staying regardless. But he could keep the 10% baseline everywhere else and just be like, we're just going to give it 12 more months. Or that, hopefully.
How have y'all pivoted so if you guys don't know, David and Christian both have clothing companies, and Joe and I do not.
We get plywood from China. Not anymore. We used to.
Not anymore as of when.
It got too expensive, like recently.
Oh.
We're buying from Canada now.
How have y'all actively pivoted, or like what is your long-term plan on the tariff situation? Because obviously you've gotten hit with fees already, right? Like imports have come in because mostly all
drop 3. I got 5 products I'm losing money on.
not good.
They're not good.
So are you still at the point where you're weathering the storm and hoping for the best, or are you currently implementing a long-term, like, not to say a solution, but we'll call it although I hate the show, a pivot?
For me, pretty
Did you
much
get that reference?
the
No.
world must go, or like the show must go on with anything coming in from China, any product that we would order from China. I'm just not ordering right now.
Are you holding or like
Which
cutting off?
thankfully, like China orders don't make it's not all of our product. It's a nice big chunk of the product, but it's not all of it. But I'm just literally kind of holding off and waiting while we're obviously like trying to. Honestly, no, like it's really we're in the waiting stage right now.
Waiting to produce or waiting to ship?
No, waiting to like place more orders in China. Like I'm not placing any. Like I'm holding even our vintage muscle tanks, like all these items that I know would be selling well. I'm just not going to deposit and not going to place orders even if we have a 55% plus 10. It's not worth it.
When you say you're losing money, is the ability to
That was only when the 140 tariff hit. So we had product land during that peak tariff. That's why I'm not making money on those 5. But even at the 55 plus 10%, like most of the product just wouldn't be worth it. It doesn't make any sense.
You
for
said
us.
in your upcoming launch next
next
weekend,
weekend, yeah.
you have products that you're going to lose money on?
5 of them.
Is the delta of increasing the price so far off that like you're like, I can't increase it that much because people won't buy it?
Yeah, people wouldn't buy it, and I also don't want to throw off our whole pricing as a whole. So like if I just increase pricing on 5 items that should be valued at $28, and I'm trying to sell them for $48 to make profit, and like the quality is not up to the one of the $48 price range. Like,
could you across the board raise a small percentage that then lifts the?
I just don't want to do that until we know it's going to happen. You know, like we just made a big price decrease last year.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Christian. Like, although kudos to you for being a good guy and like not doing this, it's one of those things that like
it could.
Well, it's like you can't do that forever. Like
No.
you can't be like every launch there's 7 items.
So my solution is like, or my plan at least, I'm assuming all the tariffs are going to stay at a higher level than they were, is that we continue on, and we'll continue on ordering product from elsewhere, and then I'm going to start sourcing new, fresh designs from other countries that'll have a lower. But that's going to be a process.
What do you think the timeline
even
is
if it
on
means like in the next 2 years, we just won't have as filled up of a website because so much of our stuff came from China. So be it. We'll hone in on the profit margins, hone in on just like, making the company healthy, and then slowly add that back in. But I'm not going to like put millions of dollars into ordering stuff that's going to give me a 1.4x margin.
What's the threshold? Because I genuinely don't know, and I don't even know if y'all know. What is it? How much has to be done in a country for it to be considered? Like, could you ship product from China to Canada and then package it in Canada and get away with, what is the threshold of before it's not Chinese anymore?
I'm pretty sure
you can't sew the tag on and say it's...
But like, so could you ship all your product to Canada from China and just have some guy in Canada sew the tags in and then ship it and get 10%
I would
tariff?
say
I think probably technically it would work. Was that fully legal? Maybe not.
I'm just like, I don't know where because I know like with some stuff, it's like at least like a Swiss made watch is be 10% assembled in Switzerland to consider it like, where does the tariff, like, could you ship something from China to a different country, package it in a different country, and then get around the tariff coming into the U.S.? Or is it the fabric itself is
But that
sourced?
starts that logistically, definitely, because now you're like paying for shipping twice also. And some, that
like,
might...
could all your clothes go to Vietnam first, packaged in Vietnam and shipped? Now is it technically a Vietnamese product?
Yeah, but I'd rather try to find a way just to make it in Vietnam and ship it here.
Christian, you made a video where you went in depth talking about how the tariffs were like affecting your company. I mean, from what I gauged from reading the comments, they were all supportive and like positive of like
Thanks for sharing.
yeah, exactly.
But you're fucked. Like,
do you
Say
think,
thanks for sharing. I might not be buying it, but
do you think the reception, like, do you think there's a world where you just like are super authentic of like, look, we're gonna shift? Like, do you think there's a possibility for a temporary price increase of saying like here ours are made in this country. It's going to take us 1.5 years to match our exact same quality or beat it, and it's going to be in 1.5 years. For that 1.5 years, we have to do this as a company to continue to like thrive and to make sure we can be here in 1.5 years.
I ended my video by saying, though I'm not increasing pricing on these items for this right now, if the tariffs land somewhere in the middle, or if anything doesn't then there will be price increases company wide in the future. So just prepare. Not saying you have to buy it, you don't have to support, but that will be the move.
Would your timeline change if all companies around you increase their pricing, or would you just?
I would just do it whenever we're being impacted with it the most. But like I said, as long as every other country, because we do a lot in Turkey, we do a lot just in other countries, as long as that can stay like moderate, then it's almost like I just need time to make new product that's not in China,
which takes some time.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of you're not starting from scratch, but like you're starting, even just if you send all of your top items to a manufacturer in Turkey and go, hey, here's the fabric breakdown, here's the designs, replicate this. It's not like, oh, the first sample you get back is a 1-to-1 identical. No. Like it never, as much as you'd think it'd be like that.
The most challenging like layer to all this too is the fact that like, it's not like I have 10 products that I just need to find different manufacturers for. Like we have thousands of SKUs, bro.
How many SKUs do you restock regularly?
Not many. That's the thing. Like most stuff is, I would say we're trying to get to the point where 50% of SKUs are restocks, which would be great, but we're not close to that yet. And then 50% of items that we come out with are like new designs that are, we're testing for the first time. If they sell well, then we restock.
But then you should be, I mean, I know it's not like, hey, it's easy, but that should be a bit easier than to transition away from China, right? Like to like leave all that behind essentially.
And then you have your staples though, like the Amplify and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's not China, thankfully.
Oh, there you go.
And the new leggings you're dropping,
not China.
Yeah.
So that's good. Like most of our women's isn't
If Trump
China.
was watching this right now and he heard what you just said, he'd smile.
He'd be, I'm buying Alpha League.
Well, because that was, I mean, that's his
it's not
whole
America,
thing.
though.
To get people out of
I know, but I think as much as he wants to push America, I think it was more so stop using China. Like his biggest concern was China being like this fucking ultra superpower, and like it is like we're moving we moved all our purchasing from China to Canada. You're trying to, people are going to start leaving, like whether you like it or not. But part of it's working.
But wouldn't
China's standing strong though? They're like, we don't need the U.S.
I think that'll backfire real quick.
I don't know, bro.
But
once people like you start pulling out and these manufacturers don't have clients anymore.
Here's the thing: what happens if at the end of Trump's term he doesn't get elected for what it was like again, right?
Yeah.
the third term
Again.
I think JD Vance would be a great
I think
president.
he's going to go for it.
But I think everyone in the middle will just vote Democrat.
You guys don't want Gavin Newsom?
Wait, real quick. Is Kamala, I keep seeing this like thing that's like Kamala's leaked next poster, and I don't know if it's real or not. Is she actually like going to run again? I saw this thing that
she
like,
might think she is, bro, but they ain't gonna run her.
Anyway, what were you saying?
I think it'll be
if
AOC.
Trump's out.
It'll be AOC.
if Trump's out, like, and he's like, let's say then the person comes in, all right, tariffs are gone. Wouldn't people just move back to China if they're like,
I don't know, Christian. Would you move back to China?
It probably.
Is the price that much lower? Like why didn't you use Turkey for everything before this?
China's just more effective.
Yeah, they're the masters of efficiency and like
Cost.
like cost, and because they have like their production. I mean, they have it on lock.
for textiles. I think they probably have the most fabrics you can source there. They have the biggest capacity probably to produce.
Well,
them.
I think the Guangdong district is like the.
Guangdong.
I mean,
So legit, yeah, I like it.
yeah, I think it's like the largest textile. Yeah. I could be wrong, but I mean, they like go and it's like for days. Like it's these huge textile districts, right? Like these large districts. So, I mean, for clothing, that's why people flock to China, is because you can get a high quality product for a good price and grow your business, right?
This tax bill, as much as we don't agree on it, but like something's got to pass, because the whole argument here was the tariffs are going to hurt, but it's going to be offset by all the stuff we're going to do with taxes and help businesses and stuff. If that doesn't pass, you're going to have a lot of
how come
pissed off
everything
business owners.
else, like the tariffs, and how come all this stuff can happen?
Yeah, no, I'm not upset about like
No,
the
I'm saying the
tax
other
cuts,
shit in it. I'm just saying
but-
that bill needs.
But they're expanding
maybe not that bill.
military spending.
No, I agree.
And
But I'm just saying if that bill keeps like if they can't pass a tax bill and we don't get like business corporate tax goes down and shit, like then the tariffs are really going to start fucking with the economy.
Why can like all of the things that financially negatively impact people happen almost at lightning speed, but all the things that would benefit the America financially take a lot longer?
Well, that's why a lot of people were pissed about the tariffs, because typically tariffs go through Congress, I believe. It was just because he enacted
he used some like 1976
he said we're under attack.
Well,
acts or
here's
something,
what it's kind of like. So in the snack space, right?
Yeah.
My favorite buzzword, CPG. Let's say they removed titanium dioxide from products, which is a ingredient that a lot of companies use to create white in candy, and also to create like brighter, more vibrant colors, right? For health reasons, whatever it is, like they were like, hey, we want to remove titanium dioxide, and I believe it was, I could be wrong, but it might be either by the end of this year or by the end of next year. But this was like a while ago they started this, so I think like that's something we removed for a while ago. It's not in any of our products, right? And so that was like, hey, this is going to be banned. You at the end of next year, you have 18 months to remove this. Similar with, I don't know if it officially is like, oh, this is absolutely going to happen, or if it's going to be, pushed back on, of the dyes, right? Red 40, all the blue, yellow, like all these dyes, which are in every product you consume that like is red, right? Or these bright blues. Again, that's something that like, hey, these are going to be removed, but they have to be removed by the end of 2026, right? You have this period of time, because you can't just overnight like change this. There's like a process, right? And so I don't understand why something as small as like that impacts a lot of people, but these major corporations, like even the tariffs, like why isn't it like, hey, this is going to happen in
Well, that's why people are upset with
18 months. You have time to get your
If
manufacturers.
Congress did it, it would have been that
And
way.
that's why
why it's crazy.
That's why the markets crashed and the U.S. dollar crashed.
Well, bro, like companies like, all like, it's great when you're at a position where you can take a hit for a period of time. I mean, no one wants to take a hit in their business, right? But like, you can afford. You're like blessed that you're at a point where you can lose tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars and it's not going to put your company under. But if you're in like the beginning phases and you get hit with that thing, like you can't just pivot. And people are saying like make in America, all these things. The problem is like you couldn't like afford to scale a company because you have to sell for so expensive. Like it's
well, this is why a lot of people are against tariffs. They're not against like he can't do the tariffs. They're just like, yo, what the fuck did you just do? Like this is you gotta like give everyone some time to, and like,
even if there's a long term like maybe again like I've said, like everyone's really against all these tariffs, but look at the other side. Like let's say in a year, let's say there's some large positive outcome and everyone's like, wow, this all worked out. Like that's all good and grand. But it shouldn't have been just.
I think my biggest problem with Trump is just like, I can respect fast, decisive decisions, right? And it's just he's just too destructive in the way he goes about things.
Well,
like,
there's a difference between the decision and the implementation.
Yeah, I mean, the implementation has just been so abrupt on pretty much every single topic, and it's just with no. It's almost just like Godzilla tearing down the city to get to a point. Like, I don't care, I'm just gonna fucking get there. Versus like, that's the point. Let's like use our team to make the most effective way to get there.
He's an older guy.
That's a good analogy.
You know, I think he's an older guy. He can't run again. So I think he's just fucking going. I think he's got 4 years to build his fucking legacy, and he really doesn't care. What
I don't think he's building the legacy.
I think
too well
what
right
I think what Trump's doing is it's like his 4 years is this giant like poker game where he's like, I'm going all in, and if everything, these giant bets that I'm doing win, then like jackpot, right? But he's more like, and I think that's just a poor strategy, because for him, I guess, because in my head, I'm like, why would you want to do things unless you're sure that it's going to have a really positive outcome? Because yeah, you're trying to improve our country and ideally the world, right? But I also think you don't want to tear down what people think of you, perceive you as. When before you went to presidency, a lot of people dislike Trump, but now I bet there's more people that dislike it. Like, why would you almost like? I feel like the things that he's doing are these huge bets that he's just hoping pays off. But if it doesn't, it's going to screw everyone, including himself. Where I think
he's very influenced by people around him.
I was gonna say, I think Steve Besant is the guy who does the tariffs, who's like super hawkish on the tariffs. I don't think the rest of his cabinet views like that, and I think someone like gets in his ear, and then he just like, I got a friend like that. I feel like you could tell him, like, talk to him one day, and the next day he'd go like quit his job and change like everything because like he's like, that seems right. Or probably Netanyahu got in his ear about the Iran thing, and just like one person dropped something in, and he's like, all right, let's fucking go, let's do it.
Well, that might be why we see him turn so fast too.
Well, I think that's that kind of I said, he's just so decisive, so quick to kind of decide. Like, it can be a good thing, but it's also like that's a negative too.
That's why we have Congress and checks and balances,
exactly.
and he's
just
trying
like
to bypass them with each.
Around
yeah,
everything.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the tariffs and the border, both of those were like wartime loopholes. Like in the fucking 60s or whatever, the border thing was like, I think it was even before that.
And the National Guard to California, that was
this was like basically like during a time of war, for World War, I think it was World War II, maybe World War I, the US had like a fucking, I don't know what it would be called, but basically a way to shut down all the borders to protect the homeland. And then when Trump came in, he claimed they were under attack from illegal immigrants, so he was able to trigger that. So he's like, he's using stuff that wasn't intended for that.
David, not to like fully dive into the topic because that was a big heavy one last time, but what are your overviews of the immigration situation and how the policies are put into place of like the process of becoming a U.S. citizen?
Yeah, not the protests and not like none of that, but like
okay, I mean, I would say there's two things, right? There's like one's the inflow in, and the other's like how I guess you get the ones who are already in out. I think again, Trump's been effective, even if it's just through his rhetoric that it stopped the inflow in, and that's like the bigger problem. In terms of how you get the people out, obviously none of us are experts, but it does seem to be one of those things. Like even if like one person is like wrongfully kicked out of the country who shouldn't be and who's legally able to be here, that's like a pretty tragic thing, even if it just happens to one person. And if it's not done in some methodical way, it seems like it could like rip families apart, and like it's tough. I don't know. That being said, immigration is one thing that I've, not that I'm like an expert on the war stuff, but I paid a lot more attention. The immigration stuff I don't know as much about.
Do you think that Trump's biggest strategy is essentially like fear mongering and like for example, like, hey, Iran, if you don't do what we say, it's gonna be even worse. Do you think these like the radical things of trying to pull out people like in like these ridiculous ways of deportation is a way of like, if people see what I'm doing to the first X amount of people that had to be in this group, like that everyone else will just be fearful that that's going to happen to them and they'll leave like on their own.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone wants to march 2,500 miles across South America to just get fucking deported.
Well, what was some crazy thing I saw that said like Trump said if you were an illegal immigrant that you can, if you come to this one place, like they will buy your plane ticket to go to any country as long as it's like out of here. There's things like they'll pay for you to go anywhere. And I guess he offered that, which that was a thing.
Yeah,
I think
that was a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, the United States isn't overpopulated. Maybe a little bit. We're not super overpopulated. Like, I think if we stop the flow in and then we take known criminals and gang members out, and then also
during that time frame, work on getting a better process.
Yeah, and I think also though
it seems impossible for a lot of people I've spoken to who've been trying for like a decade to trying to do it legally.
What are y'all's opinion? What is your opinion on the whole gold card thing? That's like what $5 million. Like, do you think
to buy residency instantly?
Do you think that being able to
he's trying to get like the rich and the scientists and shit to buy in?
But wouldn't the only people that do that be probably?
They'd probably be fine. They'd probably be fine.
Yeah, but the people who have $5 million to either the top scientists in their field or they're potentially criminals that are just paying to.
I don't know. Did y'all see?
I can't imagine many people are going to do that.
I saw Schwarzenegger
he said
on
a bunch
The
of
View.
people
Yeah,
did.
yeah. So you saw
He's like
Arnold
it already brought in a bunch of money for the country.
So Arnold went on The View, and he
Arnold?
Yeah, I'm on a first name basis with him. Anyway, he
Arnie.
Yeah, Mr. Arnie.
My lifting partner.
He was he didn't give him the answer they wanted. I'm sure a lot of you saw this clip, but basically he has such a good outlook on being an immigrant, and I think that is almost more even just for Americans.
What did he
I don't
say?
care if you're elite.
What did he say? I didn't
Basically, they were asking what he thought about all ICE stuff, and instead of going that route, he went more the like, America gave me these opportunities, and like if you're an immigrant, like you treat it like you're going to someone's house. Like if I go to a house, I'm a guest. I need to wash my shoes and help clean up and make sure I'm giving back to that person. I don't go in there and destroy it. And I think that should more be what we're doing, even with U.S. citizens. Like it annoys me. Fuck, you could be illegal if you're still like a little shithole stealing all the time and shit. Like you should be fucked. Also, we should deport criminals too. I just feel like if you come in with that mentality, I don't care where you're from. I don't care if you're illegal or not. If you're like helping build society, I don't give a shit if you're illegal or not.
I don't think anyone's against deporting illegal immigrants who've committed crimes. I haven't heard anyone make the argument that against that. That seems logical.
Yeah, no, I think it's so far from what I got yelled at last time. It's like collateral damage. It's like they pick up one guy that is a known gang member, but he may have 8 other people with him that maybe weren't even involved, and they're getting rounded up too. If they don't have documentation, they're out.
Well, people look at it from like a humanity perspective, where like families being torn apart, and that's really hard to see. It's hard to support that, but there's nuance, obviously.
But or like picking up people from the courthouse that are literally like in the middle of getting their shit done.
I know that's messed up.
I literally saw a video of where it said like, man was released from a court case that he was found not guilty of this crime, and like as he's walking out, the ICE people are like getting him because he was a legal immigrant. Like as he's leaving the courthouse, I'm like.
But you also, I mean, we've all seen like you see these videos on Instagram of these fucking guys that cross the border and they get asked questions on the other side, and they're like, fuck America, fuck y'all, we do what we want. And it's like,
why be here?
Like you might not be a criminal, but you also hate America, and like obviously it's better here than it was where you came from. But then you come here and you don't want a job, you don't want to do anything. It's like,
do you think that everything that is happening right now? Do you think there's going to be? What do you think the reaction from internal America is? There going to be chaos because of Trump's actions with Iran? Do you think?
I think, bro, like the last 8 years since Trump V1 and then through Biden, like it's been about as divided as it could be. It's probably going to stay the same. I don't see that changing too much. I don't know, but I think Trump supporters are now over the war stuff. That's one thing that we're going to see another, like now the Republicans are probably going to be divided more 50-50 than before.
Would you say at this point, as an individual, the most impact you can do to change, you're like, I'm against all these things, is it just voting for the next president?
A lot of it comes down for also voting for like the congressman in your area, because essentially that decides a lot of the policy too. It's tough though, because
no one's informed like that though. I'm not informed like that.
No, I know, but technically, like I was listening to some podcasts and they were like, look, this is something that's going to be voted in Congress, you should call your local congressman and like take 5 minutes on your lunch break to
Bro,
call.
you gotta
and
like dedicate your life to like following every single thing that goes on to be able to.
Well, realistically, not a great enough percentage of people are going to do that, and probably like the establishment or elites will continue to make the types of decisions that have been made. Unfortunately, I mean, I think the U.S. is on like a slow decline right now. I think we could all agree. Like the debt is growing. We're growing more divided. I don't. Unless like until the U.S. gets to a breaking point, when are things are going to be restructured to actually like build for the future?
Be a new party.
What do you think is
they can't, like, you know, they with when RFK had a huge support, they still excluded him from like the debates. It's like they just like
Bernie.
freeze him out. Yeah,
I don't like Bernie, but I mean Bernie got fucking pushed out by Hillary.
David and
well,
Joe.
Bernie he should have been the Democrat, like based on true democracy. He should have been the Democratic candidate a couple times. I agree. I don't agree with the socialist stuff. I agree that he actually kind of believes in his policies though, and both times they froze him out. Yeah.
Hey, also, we don't have to stop, but we're going on an hour and a half of straight politics. I don't know if there's anything else you want to touch on in this pod, or we just...
There's no way I can transition into the other... Because if you notice, like, the episodes we've done with, like, Charlie and whatnot have been... Most of the topics that I bring on here, right, are... Whether there's a current event thing going on, or I ask about, you know, hey, how's 3D doing? Or, like, you know, what's going on in the businesses. Other than that, you'll notice all my topics are, like, these very weird, goofy, situational that'll just spark stuff. I don't know how you go in from that to that.
Here, like, Palestine's worse or terrible. Bought a Lambo. That's cool. Yeah. You're not going to transition that one.
I know Christians love you getting new cars. No, no. I think this is just the political episode, bro. Do you two? Because y'all seemed not.
You don't think a new party could start?
It could, but all the money in the don't, bro.
They kind of have a monopoly.
Yeah, Kamala raised $1 billion.
But I just think it's also
month.
so divided right now that like a lot of people would be down.
If they could start some like populist party that was like just someone just being anti-war, like actually would get a large people from the left and the right. If they could be kind of neutral on the other issues.
Yeah, but Trump
pretended to be.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
like you're.
What do you think is one thing that could happen that would be the biggest change to push America in the direction that needs to go?
So I feel like something bad's gotta happen, bro. Like we gotta like our debt is growing so fast, but it's gotta grow to the point that like the dollar like fails or I don't know. The direction we're on, and everyone in Congress continually votes for more and more spending, and those are the people who have the control of the federal budget.
How do you think the current actions that are going on right now are going to affect our children?
Potentially gonna be in a fucking another war.
It's a slow burn to the point where like it'll probably be more like our great grandchildren or something could be the time where America's going to do. You know, I feel like it's gonna be like a slow decline.
War is also so much different now though than even like 10 years ago. Like with the drones and shit. Like I genuinely think we could probably have a full blown war with Iran with almost no boots on the ground. I mean, as we just saw last night, like our Air Force and shit, I'm not advocating for it, but I don't think we're ever going to see another like Afghanistan where we have hundreds of thousands of troops and we're losing 1,000 people. I think that those ages are over. I think now we have drones, we have I just think at this point, I think wars are like fucking cyber and full drones until someone drops a nuke and then it's game over. But I don't even know if warfare looks the same as it did even 10 years ago now. I mean, we're seeing even with Ukraine and Russia, it's like they're flying drones at each other and blowing each other up, and it's
bro, Ukraine's they're drafting old men and the kids into the military. I think boots to occupy space, you still need boots on the ground.
Our kids and our kids' kids, I think, is a completely different war than what we're thinking it is.
Well, listen, the whole goal of this podcast is not to turn it into a political podcast.
We're fucked.
I feel like this episode was something that we needed to talk on these kind of topics, but I think it's important to like stress what even Joe said like earlier in the podcast, where it's like none of y'all, maybe y'all way more than me, and it seems that y'all two are even more heavily into it, but like none of us are political experts. All of us is just like, this is like what I see from, and the problem that also, because unless I dedicate a large amount of time to go down, I see a lot of, which is a big problem, is I see a lot of these headlines, which you don't even know what's real. You don't know what's like not factual.
With AI, it's going to get worse, bro.
And that's the thing is like, so all of this stuff is, I want everyone to take things with like a grain of salt of like whether it be like I don't even know like the facts, but
I think we can't all agree. It's probably wrong fucking time to talk about this, but I'm like, I do feel like from like an engineering mindset and stuff, it is cool that the U.S. military has the shit we have. like outside of the fucking destruction and people and stuff, like the fact that we can scramble 50 jets in a night and no one knows what's going on, we can take out 3 heavily guarded fucking sites, get out of the country before anyone even knows what happened. That's fucking impressive from like a logistical standpoint.
So why are other countries?
No, I think some other ones like China could probably do it too. I'm just saying the fact that we're that advanced, like we have that technology and shit is like,
well, bro, it's like
impressive.
It's badass in the sense of like it'll be cool to do it in Call of Duty or to see it in a movie, but like in the actual like world and thinking about like human life and morality, it's not that cool. I mean,
no,
or I mean,
I'm saying logistic, like even from a business perspective,
No,
like that's
it's impressive.
incredible
It's
that we
impressive.
pull that off.
It's very impressive.
You know, it'd be more impressive when we get to a technology with these jets that a tiny little single missile can just go after the individuals that are like actual.
We can already do that.
It's like coming in the door.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
I mean,
no,
they
I'm
can
saying,
be
like,
very
more in
targeted
debt,
shit.
we're good.
Yeah.
but I'm saying like like actual bad people, but the fact that like that would be
Like it could take me out in this room and not y'all 3.
Yeah.
correct of like someone that is like a like objectively bad person, but to take David out, but you got to take us 3 beautiful souls out as well.
If you're ever bored,
and like civilians, I think that's terrible.
I'm getting off topic here, but if you're ever fucking bored, there's a company called Andril Industries. Look them up on YouTube. It is the most dystopian fucking like, you know, like a Terminator and shit, or like these movies where it's like this like weird CEO with like his Hawaiian shirt on, like owns this technology company and it takes over the world or some shit. It's literally that. So the guy that sold Oculus to Meta went into the military fucking sector, and he's like this. He has a goatee and a fucking mullet, and he wears like Hawaiian shirts. They're making some of the craziest fucking like dystopian future drones and shit, like personal EMPs where the soldier can like hit a button and point in a direction, it'll take out all the fucking drones. It's really cool videos to watch, like just from an engineering side of it. Like it is insane the technology that we're starting to get for war. The problem is, like David's saying, all this technology is literally designed to
Kill people.
Yeah, like how effectively can we kill people?
That's the problem. I think threats need to be neutralized. I don't think civilians need to be neutralized.
Well, as it gets better,
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. We have seen in the last 50 years, we have gone from taking down a whole building to kill one person to now we can just put a missile into one fucking room and take out one person.
Yeah, I would also say
But
like,
we make mistakes of that too. Didn't Biden fucking take out a car, like a family, because they had bad intel and they accidentally? I'm pretty sure like
sure
they
took
like
out more than one family.
No, but I'm pretty sure there was like a strike on like one of the, I don't know, it was somebody they were trying to kill and they got bad information. I think they just took out like a van with a family in it, and we're just like, oops, our bad.
Yeah, well, when we struck, I think it was Hezbollah the first time when Trump struck. Was it Syria like a month or 2 ago? Like they were going after one high value target, and they literally just bombed an apartment building and like blew up the whole building. I mean, I think one thing we could all agree on.
Wrap it up here, David.
This is gonna be a lot of comments hating on Joe or hating on me. Like I think hopefully we're all coming at it from a place of like maximizing preserving human life, even if someone sees it, hey, like Iran shouldn't have the nukes, so because that would have led to a lost human life, so the strike was good, even though I'm coming at it from the place like let's not even open Pandora's box. Hopefully I think everyone in the comments can agree, even if we don't agree on the way to get there, the policies that like we should like value human life and pursue policies that like allow more people just to like flourish and live and build families.
I think we're good on this one. Yeah, I don't think people would be too upset unless you're like Israeli. I think the only people who are going to be upset about everything we said is like if you were diehard Israel.
Hey, I will say this.
But even they should be able to live and prosper, just not at the expense of other
I
people.
don't think anything that was said today is like too out of pocket.
This is actually the first podcast that I won't cut anything out of.
Have you even
I'm
cut stuff
leaving
out
it
of the
alone,
podcast?
dude.
Sometimes I save Joe
Yeah.
when he says stuff that I'm just really like, bro, you know what? As much as I know you're like that guy that can say anything, but sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna save you a little bit on that. And some stuff, as I'm talking, I'm like, after I say things, I go, I feel like that could be perceived not how I intended it to come out, and I almost preserve myself because I'm like, it's not that I disagree with what I said. I think that I didn't say it the way that I was actually trying to get the message out there.
Well, I get worried too, because when me and Joe get going, sometimes I think I start talking too openly about this stuff, and I know very people get it charged from different perspectives.
Nah, but I will say the next episode is full degenerate. We're not talking about one politics.
You say that, but Trump drops bombs on a Saturday night.
but this isn't meant to be a political.
I know, but
podcast.
you also can't just ignore. Like we can't show up on if something drastically bad happens on a Saturday, we can't just not talk about it on a Sunday.
Do you think people are like, man, this is so crazy what happened? I need to know what the fitness influencers I follow and the GT3 RS guy.
No, but
and,
I think
and the men's improvement guy, like their opinion is really what matters to me.
No, but if you people tomorrow morning when they're opening up YouTube, that's going to be what they want to consume. And if they also like the podcast, it's like a win-win.
Let me ask you this. I usually do like 3 topics, and then the last one was like political chaos. Do you think a title for this one, Trump versus everyone?
Yes.
Don't Be Sour, episode 120.
There you go.
Yeah,
On a lighter heart, you had a baby shower yesterday.
Bro, we're
Ended
not-
on that
we're
real
not-
quick. Hey, it was a nice baby shower. Everyone had a good time.
It was a nice baby shower.
There you go.
It was.
I was also a cripple last time I was on the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shit. You're good now, though.
Little by little.
But yeah, okay. This podcast was much different than all the other ones.
Brought to you by Lockheed Martin.
I don't know. Random question: would y'all be able to do a potential Wednesday podcast? If not, we're gonna take a break for a week.
Yeah, my birthday's next weekend, so I'm actually.
I could do Wednesday.
Y'all are gone. All my friends are gone. So
We'll be gone next
I'm going to be doing
week.
family stuff. But yes,
We
I could do
invited you to
Wednesday.
come.
We invited both
No,
of y'all.
I'm not
He has
complaining
summer
about
shredding.
it. I'm
He has
just
summer
saying.
shredding.
You
I
guys summer
have stuff
shredding
next
every weekend, I feel
We
like.
invited you to come.
Bro, summer shredding's on my birthday every year.
Joe, why don't you want? Why don't if we're like, hey, bro, your friends, we're going to this cool place.
This
we
is what
want
the
you to come."
podcast should have been about. Why aren't you coming?
I did want to
This
go.
is the second year in a row that we've invited you with plenty of heads up.
I'll go next time.
And it was even you were like advocating to want to
I
go to
wanted
like
to
Mexico.
go, and then Amanda. It's fine. We're good.
Because don't be like, oh, my friends are leaving. Be like, we wanted you to come.
I'm not saying it about. I'm
Like,
saying like
3 months ago we
Next
invited-
weekend I'm busy, so I'll do Wednesday.
3 months ago, you weren't busy.
We're golfing Tuesday,
We were golfing Tuesday.
Christian. Yep.
It's in my
And
calendar.
we're
can
gonna
do a
film
pod
it.
Wednesday.
And yeah, if we do a pod Wednesday, then the people will not be a week without a pod.
Yeah, David will be a little darker complexioned, but we'll be fine.
Shawley's gonna be here. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I understood the joke.
Okay.
No, Shawley sits over here. Christian sits there.
Interesting.
Still a little dark and
I
complexioned.
could put. I have 2 of those
true.
chairs. Maybe I should put this chair. I'm gonna get this wall. Do y'all like the? I don't know if anyone makes it to the end of this podcast. Do you like the 4-person pod? I need to. If we're gonna keep doing the 4, because right now behind David it does not look aesthetically as over here. I'm gonna put like a wall. I can make it look like this.
I'm not using the other chair. If you want, I'll bring it. If you want to match these 2 chairs.
Or do I match those 2 chairs? Do you like this chair better? This is a cooler chair. Anyway, that will wrap up this very political podcast episode on the Don't Be Sour. New episodes every single Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern time, unless you don't get one. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a 5-star review. If you're on any sort of podcast streaming service, don't know what it does, but I think it helps. Eat more sour strips ever forward. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.
Peace. Christian's got to pee.